Before you apply for indefinite leave to remain, there is one thing you need to do, which is to use the ILR calculator, because the ILR calculator will tell you your qualifying period for applying for indefinite leave to remain. There is this 28-day rule, which means that you should not apply earlier than 28 days to your 5th birthday or your 5th year of being in the UK. That is if your route is the 5-year route. If your route is the 3-year route, for example, if you're on a global talent visa and you're using the 3-year route, you shouldn't apply 28 days before your 3rd birthday, because if you do this, your money is going to go and it's not going to be refunded. And the price for ILR is 3,029 as of today, the 21st of August 2025, that I'm filming this video. It is £3,029 per person. So if you're a family of 4, 5, 6, you calculate this and you multiply by your numbers. In addition to this, you would want to pay £500 for priority service. So the £3,029 is for standard, which means your decision can take up to 6 months before you receive a decision. However, if you pay extra £500, you are going to be getting your decision within 5 working days. So that is the priority service. If you want super priority, which means you are going to be getting your decision in 24 hours of the time of application, you can pay an extra £1,000 on top of the £3,029 for a super priority service. If you want a faster appointment, let's say for example you want to go for biometrics, because you have to go for biometrics where they'll capture your passport, you take a photo of you and do your fingerprint. Sometimes you might not get a date within the time that you want to go for biometrics, but you can pay £60 extra for prime time service, which will give you an opportunity to get an earlier date rather than waiting for the standard, date, which is for free. There is also a £50 bill to pay if you want to use the assisted service. Assisted service means that they are going to be scanning all your documents for you at the visa center. Trust me, the documents are a lot depending on your circumstance. In my case, the documents were a lot, so I wanted to do it myself. So if you want to do it yourself, it's free. But if you want to use the assisted service where you pay at the visa application center, then you would have to pay an extra £50 on top of all of this. Using the ILR calculator will save you a lot, because it's going to be giving you a tailored time for your application that is specific to yourself. Because trust me, everybody's route is different. Even couples, if you didn't come together into the UK, your settlement period is different. Even your children, your settlement period is different. So you would want to use this ILR calculator so that you do not make an early application and lose your money. So this is how the ILR calculator works. I'm going to walk you through it. The ILR calculator looks like, you go onto your Google browser and you browse ILR calculator. The first one that comes, you press on it, and this is the tool that you can use to calculate your earliest date for applying for your indefinite leave to remain. So don't make the mistake of applying, because there is a 28-day rule. So this tool tells you when exactly, the exact date that you should apply for your ILR based on the date that you were granted your first visa and the date that you actually entered the UK. Also bearing in mind the times that you've spent outside the UK since you entered, because that time can affect your ILR. Actually, there is a 28 days rule, which means that the earliest you can apply for ILR is 28 days before your 5th year in the UK. However, it can differ based on your personal circumstances. So when you've gone onto this link or page, you scroll down and it is going to lead you down to where to actually use the calculator. So when you scroll down to this bottom, it says, what is the length of continuous period of residence for ILR route you are applying for? So you choose, is it 2, 3 or 5 years? So you know that if you're in a global talent visa, usually it's 3 years. If you're on a skilled worker visa, it is 5 years. So let's say we choose the 5 years route, which is the most commonest. And then I ask you, when was the start date of your first relevant visa that goes towards your continuous period, which is the date you received your first visa. So let's say, for example, if you received it in 2022, let's say October 23rd, you set it like that. And then they ask you, for that above visa, which is the first one, when was the earliest date that you physically came into the UK? For example, the date you got to the border control and your passport was stamped. So let's say you got the visa in August, but you decided to come to the UK in, let's say, October 31st. of that same year. So October 31st, 2022. And then it asks you when is the expiry date of your current visa, which is the visa that you are currently on. So for example, let's say you've changed employers since you came and now your visa is going to expire in 2026. Okay, so let's say your current visa expires, or let's say 2027 even. So your current visa expires in 2027. Let's say December, for example, 31st December 2027. So you just press on the calculate. Then the results will show immediately underneath. So the result says that you have entered the UK 69 days after the start date of your visa. As this is still within the 180 days allowance, it is still counted as allowable absence, and the qualifying period start date is the 23rd of August 2022, which was when your visa was granted. You must ensure that you have not been outside the UK for more than 111 days in full. So this means that because you've already spent, when you want to apply for ILR, you shouldn't have been in the UK for more than 180 days, right? Because you've already spent 68 days out of the 180 days, now you only have 111 days left. So that is how it is calculated. So you now have 111 days left because of the figures you have put in. All right. So within a 12-month calendar period, you shouldn't be out of the UK for more than 180 days if you are on a skilled worker visa. Or if you are a dependent. Let me state this also, because sometimes some people come in, they're dependent, children, spouses, they come take their BRPs and go back and continue their life. This also applies to everybody, even including children. The end of your qualifying period for this ILR application is 22nd of August 2027, and says that the earliest ILR application date is the 25th of July 2027. It means that you can apply by 25th July 2027. Do not submit an application before this date, as otherwise your application will be rejected and no refund will be given. If you spend or have spent more than 180 days in any of the 12-month period between 23rd of August 2022 to 25th of July 2027, then your ILR clock will reset and the earliest ILR application date will change. So if this is the case, then you cannot use the above date. You must work out the date according to your circumstances, or you must work it out with an immigration advisor. So if your process is not straightforward, then obviously you need an immigration advisor to guide you. But this is the ILR calculator that is certified by the government.